Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the THW NHL News and Rumors Rundown. My name is Jim Parsons. I'm here with HockeyWriters.com. It is Saturday, June 5th as I record this right now. Lots to go through, lots of NHL news and rumors, playoff action, all sorts of stuff, trade speculation, draft results for the lottery. Lots going on here, so we're going to get into all of that right away. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you want to follow us, there's a couple ways to do so. You can go to the @thehockeywriter on Twitter, you can go to the Hockey Writers on Facebook, or you can go to thehockeywriters.com, check out all the news and rumors reports and everything that's going on. All right, let's start with the big news today. Mark Scheifele, or at least the big news this week, massive hit on Jake Evans of the Montreal Canadiens, gets a 4-game suspension as a result of a charging infraction. He says the suspension is a little bit excessive. He also mentioned that his family is getting a lot of hate and a lot of bullying online and phone calls, and he says that's unacceptable, which is absolutely true. It's not something that should be happening. As far as the 4-game suspension goes, some people thought it might be a little tough. 2 or 3 is kind of where they figured it would go, but 4 games is pretty hefty for the playoffs. You never know. The Montreal Canadiens and Jets might not even go to the point where Scheifele could get back into that series, so we'll see what happens there. Lots of news coming out of Toronto with respect to a bunch of pending free agents. So Zach Hyman, there was a rumor that maybe a $5 million offer was made to him from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hyman's agent has said that's not true, that's inaccurate. Now, we don't know if an offer's been made. We don't know if an offer's been declined. We don't know if there's even anything like that going on right now. The two sides are talking. Hyman said he's open to returning if something makes sense. The Toronto Maple Leafs obviously want to keep him. He could get as much as 6 by 6 on the open market, so we'll see where that one goes. But as far as the offer goes for $5 million, apparently that's not true. Lots to talk about Morgan Rielly and what the Maple Leafs are going to do with him. He's got 1 more year left on his contract, and they're going to need to make a decision on him so that they can kind of get an idea as to what to do for the rest of the offseason, where to spend their money, who to move, who not to move. Is Rasmus Sandin ready to take on a bigger role? Is Morgan Rielly going to make way more than the I think it's $5.5 million he's making right now? What do you do with Rielly? Do you trade him when his value's at the highest? Do you want to keep him and try to extend him? You know he's going to need a raise, but you don't have a lot of money to give it to him. So what do you do? Because you've got Hyman, you've got Anderson, you've got other players that you're going to need to give this money to. And where does Morgan Rielly fit into all of that? So lots of talk going on there in Toronto about that. Wayne Simmonds has talked about maybe wanting to come back, but he has no idea what the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to do with their support pieces, he says. He'd be open to coming back, but he just needs to know what their plan is and if he fits into it. And Jason Spezza has said that he would like to come back to the Toronto Maple Leafs as well. And it looks like the Maple Leafs want to have him, and that money probably won't be an issue. He was one of the more productive lower depth forwards, so it makes sense that he'd come back. Zach Parise did his exit interview with the Minnesota Wild and said that he would like to return. He didn't give details on that interview, especially considering that the Minnesota Wild didn't play him very much in the playoffs, and when he did come in, he played pretty well. Minnesota might not have much luck moving him if they want to. He's got a huge contract, long-term left on it. Can't imagine there's going to be a lot of teams interested in Parise's services for that kind of a contract and a flat cap salary NHL. But that's okay if Parise wants to come back because he could be an effective player for the Wild, and he does say he wants to return. Philipp Grubauer in Colorado. The Avs are on a roll here, looking strong, was one of the contenders for the Cup, but they got some big contracts coming up. Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, other players too, and Philipp Grubauer, the goaltender, is having a Vezina caliber season. He's been fantastic. He's going to make more money. There are reports that he's interested in staying with Colorado. Obviously, why would you not want to? How much of a discount he's willing to take to stay with a contending team is another area of debate. He's going to be a hot commodity on the free agent market if he gets to that point. How much can Colorado afford to give him? Probably not as much as he can make on the open market. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Grubauer goes and tests free agency or doesn't even worry about it, stays with Colorado and takes a discount. How much of one, we'll have to wait and see. And Seth Jones news. He's informed the Columbus Blue Jackets that he will not be signing an extension with the team. They're hoping he changes his mind, but it probably doesn't look like that's going to happen, which means a lot of Seth Jones trade talk is going to be happening here this summer. A handful of teams already in the mix, apparently. The Philadelphia Flyers, Los Angeles Kings, Chicago Blackhawks, Edmonton Oilers, among others. Toronto's been floated out there, but I can't imagine that's going to happen as a rental. But Seth Jones is going to be a hot commodity here this summer. If he gets traded, we'll see. But that's a big deal because he's got 1 more year left on his contract at about $5.4 million, and then he could get as much as $8 million to $9 million on the open market as a free agent. So who's going to be interested? Where's he going to go? U.S.-based big market city is what we're hearing. but we don't know that for sure. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us today. Don't forget, check out the hockeyraiders.com. All your news and rumors reports are there. And then, of course, check out the YouTube page, like the Facebook page. Everywhere else you want to follow us on social media, you can do that. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. Have a fantastic weekend.